First things first, you must see the sewing boots. Because it's a concrete floor, I need something to keep my feet warm, and these are wonderful for sewing, and they're very inspiring. So what's on the agenda today? I'm going to show you how to make a scrunchie. I make these all the time from my leftover fabric that I have from anything that I make, so I have a matching scrunchie. So what I've read, they suggest using knit fabrics, but this is a cotton woven, so I'll show you how easy it is to even do it with a cotton woven. So here I am getting ready to cut out the pattern. I did make the pattern out of file folders because I needed something stiffer. My tissue was wore out because I've made so many of these.
I can see that. You do make a lot of them. I do have a question for you, Dory. Does it matter if it's on the straight of the grain or on the bias? How does it matter at all?
It does
how the
not.
Pattern pieces?
Does not make any difference at all. They suggest on the grain, but it don't matter.
It's going to be all scrunchy. So.
Yeah, right. And these weights are from the hardware store. You've given me a few of them, and then my husband went and bought some more for me. And this is a piston from his garage. He's an auto mechanic, amongst other things. And he was going to throw it out, and I'm like, no, I think I'll take that.
Makes a nice little stand for that.
It
Works
does.
well.
Perfect weight stand.
Yeah, so there you go, cutting it out now.
Yep.
One piece, right?
One piece.
Okay.
And again, the measurements are 18.5 by 4 inches. Just cutting it out.
All right.
So I'm going to fold it in half, right sides together. You can either take it to an iron or you can pin the raw edges together. I don't do either because I made so many of them. I just finger press it, and I don't use any pins or clips or anything. When I go to the sewing machine to sew, you'll see I'm going to start 2.5 inches, about 2.5 inches. It doesn't have to be exact from the starting point, and then I'm going to stop 2.5 inches before the ending point. So remember, start 2.5. The width that I use is just the width of my foot, 3/8 inch seam. Now I take my bodnik and I'm going to turn my tube inside out. You can take a safety pin or whatever you use to put things inside out. I just attach mine to the end because it's flexible. It can go right in here. Just going to turn it inside out. Voila, it's inside out. Release the bodkin. What is it called? Bodkin. Release the bodkin. Now you're going to take the right sides of the two ends and sew them together. So you're going to put them together and sew them. You don't need a very big seam. Again, 3/8 is fine. Make sure you don't catch your other fabric. Doesn't have to be super perfect. And voila, you now have a hoop. This we're going to tuck under later and sew it shut after we put the elastic in it. So we're going to go get our elastic. Look, I got this whole thing for $1.99. Actually, I think I probably got a discount on top of that. But anyway, at one of my thrift shops, you take and measure 7 inches of your elastic. 7 inches, measure it. That's what we're going to use, 7 inches. I want to show you a trick I learned watching wonderful YouTube. For me, it was always hard to take the 2 ends of elastic and sew them together. Well, we're not ready for that yet. Okay, I'm going to put my end of my elastic on my bodkin, thread it through. It is already starting to look like a scrunchie. Comes through on this side. Pull the elastic through, that's what the whole idea is. So now these 2 pieces of elastic we want to join. Here's your bodkin. And I always found it very hard to just stick it on the machine and try to do this. Ugh, I've had a horrible time doing it. So what do? I take a piece of scrap, a tiny piece of scrap. Doesn't have to be a big piece, it can be just a little teeny piece. I take a piece of scrap fabric and I sew one end of the elastic on the scrap fabric. So I'm going to be careful that you don't pull it through because then you just have to get it again. Just take this piece of fabric, sew this down, and then take your other piece of elastic, sew that on top of that one. You're going to cut off this extra fabric, don't worry. It just makes it so much easier when you're trying to join 2 small pieces of elastic. Can you see what I'm doing? I think so. Hoping so. Yeah, I did join it. Okay. Then you take the excess fabric and just cut it off. Now we're ready to take and put this together. Now some people would take and hand stitch it because they think it might look better. But I'm telling you, when you have a scrunchie in your hair, you don't really see this little flat side that you're going to do. But you can do whatever you want. If you want to hand stitch that shut, you can. Me, I'll just quickly sew it right up. And voila, you now have a scrunchie that you can put in your hair. So now you have a scrunchie that you can just put in your hair. And you can make any different colors, I mean, it's really nice. You can use these scrunchies as gifts, whatever. I like my scrunchies. I hope you can see how easy it was to make and that you too will enjoy making some scrunchies.